B.B. King was a blues singer and guitarist and songwriter whose career spanned from 1942 to 2014, shortly before his death in 2015 at the age of 89. He was born on a cotton plantation in the Mississippi Delta and was one of the foundational proponents of electric blues, bringing the music to a much wider audience. He also managed to cross over to the white audience considerably. He's considered a pioneer of the kind of rambling electric guitar soloing that I've once heard described as vague pentatonic noodling that became the hallmark for blues greats like Eric Clapton and Gary Moore in later years. He claimed he developed the style because he wasn't great at playing chords. He was a prolific tourer and averaged 2,000 shows a year, even into his 70s. During his early years, he worked to support himself as a tractor driver, and that's a skill that saved him from combat duties in World War II. Later, he learned to fly and flew to many of his gigs until he was into his 70s. According to Wikipedia, during one show in Twist, Arkansas, a brawl broke out between two men and caused a fire. He evacuated with the rest of the crowd, but returned to retrieve his guitar. He said he later discovered that the two men were fighting over a woman named Lucille, so he named his guitar Lucille as a reminder not to fight over women or run into any more burning buildings. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is a live album of electric blues. I have not only come across this album before, I've reviewed it before. Before I was reviewing on YouTube, I had a blog with a readership of about 5 and a different list I was using. And some of the albums that I'm reviewing now, I've already reviewed before in that setting. It's not, majorly thing. So, yeah, I haven't listened to it in between, so it's been kind of 3-4 years or so since I've listened to it for that review. But it does feel fairly familiar for me, despite that. So it was recorded at a live event at Cook County Jail, which is in Chicago. It's mentioned in the Blues Brothers film. And there's a fairly unusual thing about this album, which is that we'll often talk about albums and the impact they've had and how significant they've been. And we usually, when we do that, we're talking about that within the musical world. Whereas this album actually had an impact beyond that, in that it highlighted prison conditions and drew them to attention and brought, maybe not directly and absolutely attributable to this album, but it was certainly contributed towards prison reform, which is a great thing to be able to claim for an album. As well as that side of thing, it's a live album music. Obviously, live albums have an extra dimension in my head, which is, I would say, then an extra challenge to the people who are creating them, which is how do you take what is essentially a different experience to a recorded experience. So if you can imagine, most of what we're talking about with music, and most of what I'm doing on this channel is reviews of albums, and most of them are studio albums. I don't review concerts. I don't go out to gigs. A huge amount, I do some, and I don't do reviews of them. But you could do, and they're different experiences. Whereas a live album, you're trying to get those two things to go together. Or, in other words, you're trying to, in some ways at least, replicate that live experience on a record. And so part of my criteria for how good an album is when it's a live album is how well does it do that. And I think that this one does. It gives you a good feel of that occasion where they were there. So let's talk about the music then. So the focus here, B.B. King, known as a blues guitarist, and this is a major part of what's going on here. His guitar playing is slow hand style blues. I want to reference Eric Clapton as the guy who lots of people know of this kind of style. Obviously, he took it from people who had done it more originally, and B.B. King is one of those people. And I would say there's quite a lot of B.B. King in Eric Clapton's style of playing, and it's great. is really nice guitar playing. He's very good at this kind of what I think of as the down the spine feel that you can get with really good blues, and he does that. His playing has got that kind of to it that great blues has. Um, the band who are backing him are also very good, but I'd highlight particularly the piano, which is there a lot of the time. Even between tracks, it's tinkling away for some reason. He seems like he just can't stop playing. But it's good piano stuff. The songs here are mostly slow, rambling blues kind of stuff. And then, of course, because the songs, we've got singing, and it's B.B. King as well, singing. And the thing that is talked about less, I would say, about B.B. King is that he's got a really good voice. It's a good blues voice. Sometimes there was a really nice falsetto section on "Worry, Worry, Worry," one of the tracks, where I kind of felt like, yeah, he's singing falsetto, but his singing reflects his guitar playing in the way he's doing it, this kind of gentle, light touch to get that again, that feel to it. But his not just falsetto, his normal singing is really strong. Is a good, strong blues singer. He's also got some nice audience participation stuff going. There's a kind of spoken bit in the middle of, I think it's "Worry, Worry, Worry," which I mentioned before, which is kind of gospel church style, to and fro with the audience, and it's so much fun. So he's obviously created a great atmosphere in this place. I wish at times that the volume of the crowd was a little more prominent, so you don't get the feeling that it can come across as if the responses are a bit muted, but I think that it's just because it's quite low in the mix. But in some ways, this was really early in terms of live albums, so um, their ability to do that or to work out how high to put the crowd kind of came up more later, I would say. So it's a really strong album. I do have a couple of complaints about it. One of them is that I feel that the edit is a bit disjointed. It doesn't flow so well as an album as it could do. And the other one is that it's too short. It really could have been a double album. I think that's partly because in not very long after this, the tradition came that double live albums were often double albums and would be longer to give more of that kind of expansive feeling of a longer experience that you have at a concert. Other than those two small niggles, I'm a fan. I like this album quite a lot. Um, and what do you think? I'd love to know. So please tell me by leaving me a comment in the comments down there in the box somewhere. And that's it from me for now.